Hey, Boo. So, welcome to episode 25 of the Young Monarchs podcast. Shout out to all the first time listeners, the day ones, the ladies just coming to check in for a second. Thank you for joining. Thanks to everybody who's been on the movement thus far. Thank you guys for following us online, subscribing on YouTube. But I'm super, super excited about this episode. So, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our co host for today. Her name is G Armani, and I absolutely love her looks. If you're on her YouTube channel, her energy, I love all of her videos. They're entertaining, they're educational. They make me think like, am I doing something wrong? Let me go ahead and check myself in all these ways. But yeah, do you want to kick it off with kind of telling people a little about what you do on your channel, your business, everything?
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm honored to be on her channel too. I'm actually known on YouTube as Ethereal 1111. And that's how we found each other. She commented on my video and, we instantly hit it off. So now I'm here. And basically what I do is on YouTube, it's so weird to talk about now. What I do on YouTube is just I share my experience, and like I said, I try and make it as entertaining, informational, but like still like bring in looks and stuff on my channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think I wanted to ask you, like, just straight off the bat, how did you kind of see the vision for Ethereal 1111, and how did it kind of come to life for you? Because you've grown, you have a lot of followers. How long have you had your channel?
My channel, I've had it for actually years now. Mm-hmm. I had it ever since I was in like high school. So this vision definitely started in high school. It was just high school is a journey for me. Definitely, I think it was for everybody, but it started in high school, the vision. And basically, I went through like my journey of like finding out what I wanted to do, like who I wanted to be, like where did I want to live, go, like all that. And I kind of I started it off like traditional, like when I got out of high school. I got like my cosmetology license, and that was big for me because I was able to like express myself creatively. Like everything. It really helped with like a lot of stuff. And then of course I tried like a 4-year college or whatever. And like I learned a lot there. It was a good experience, but like college is not for everybody. Like I don't think college is for somebody like me in this like age, because I have so much energy and I could be doing so many other things, So that happened, so then I was there for like a few semesters. I, obviously came back home. I didn't want to like really go back or like even go back to college. So I was like, I can, I have other skills that I can use. So basically, that's how it started. I was basically just like spending a lot of time alone. Also, like I said, being creative, just explore my passions, finding out what I'm passionate about. And that is what sparked the vision of, my channel, the things that I want to talk about on my channel. That's where I learned the most. Like I said, I researched a lot, and it was like I had a lot of like and like space, time, energy, just to like kind of explore. So that was nice, and it definitely got me here. Talking to people about like, things they're not like so mundane. They're really more on the deeper side. Also, I didn't really have people in my life where I felt like I could actually talk to them about like the certain things I was that I was thinking or talking about. So that is also what sparked the vision for my YouTube channel, because I was like, hey, this is the perfect place to share my experience, to relate with people, to connect with them, and like, share and connect.
And I think that's what like made me so interested in your page, because it was all about kind of like the first couple of videos I was looking at was about like how we feel as women, different things that go into being a woman, kind of becoming our best version of ourselves, and then just how like life in general. So today We're going to be talking about femininity and like the physical. We're going to get into the spiritual, get deep. So, sis, if you're not deep, you can just go ahead and jump off this episode right now and get yourself the next one. But I feel like this is going to be a great episode because that's like, I'm always wanting to be like, what do you like on the inside though? Like,
right.
like how do you feel right now? Tell me how you feel.
Yup.
Now we're going to jump into the boss shit segment of this week. And every week we just highlight a boss ass woman that is doing her thing. And this week I had to talk about my queen, the number one, Beyonce, who dropped a powerful trailer last week out of surprise and is her new visual album entitled Black is King. Written and directed by the Queen, Black is King shows the voyage of Black families throughout time and are honored in a tale about a young king's transcendent journey through betrayal, love, and self-identity. And as people know, Beyonce she doesn't come half stepping, don't come halfway at all. So these visuals are everything. Like I was looking at it, it's all these bright browns, these like subtle colors, but they're just so bold on film. So that comes out globally on Disney Plus on July 31st. So I'm gonna have my popcorn. So I guess just jumping into, what would you define as femininity? Is just like speaking in the physical. Like, is it more so like how we're born and like more of our like appearance? Is it what we physically do? Like, what do you see it as?
Okay, that's a really good question. I think that femininity it's more of like an essence and like a I'm not gonna say energy because that's pretty general. Yeah. It's more of an essence and it's like a way of being, so like how cats are, like they're very feminine in nature, like they're never like really chasing anything unless it's a rat or whatever. I don't know, but they don't chase, they're very like laid back in their feminine energy. Of course, not to say that femininity is just all about looking pretty or wearing feminine dresses or like colors or anything like that. I would say that it's this is okay. I
feel like I don't know, something, it's like there's so many different ways that you can explain it, because I would also be like, oh, it's the way that you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I look at people, like if we're just all at a bar and you're just paying attention to the people that are in the bar, you kind of see like,
right,
some girls will like walk, like they'll walk a certain way,
body language,
hold their head a certain way, they'll touch their hair a certain way, and then you'll see girls that don't necessarily make those things that you feel like are more feminine. They're just like more like straightforward walking, not touching their hair, might have their hair pulled back, might not have on makeup. But it's still like you could still like sense like they're a woman, like they're just who they are as a person.
Exactly. And it's more of like, like an expression. It's not, I don't think it's really has, of course it has a lot to do with the physical, but it's really more of like an expression, how you express yourself in your essence. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
Even though we're talking about the physical, it has a lot to do with like how the woman may feel inside. Like maybe she feels as though like she likes to be pampered, or she likes, comfort, or she likes leisure. She doesn't like to, chase anything, or she doesn't like to, be too much of her masculine energy.
Yeah.
As far as like the survival mode and like all that. You know what I mean?
So what do you see are the benefits to it? Like you give a benefit, then I'll throw out a benefit.
A benefit of femininity. People definitely treat you way nicer, they treat you way better. As if you were, as if you are like, now you're worthy because you know.
Yeah.
But I understand, because women are supposed to be, a certain way and make people feel a certain way. But times have changed and now we're here.
Yeah. I feel like society kind of puts labels on what femininity has to be and what it can't be.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a benefit is just kind of trying to think, like, really being able to express yourself. I know for me, like, I'm a silly person, but I know a boy probably couldn't be as silly as me, just like straight out, and then be like, why, like, relax. Like, you don't have to be so goofy. You don't have to be that.
Yeah.
But like, for me, it's like, oh, she's just like a silly girl. Like, it's okay for me to be like big and bubbly and kind of show myself to people in those ways. I feel
Right. Right.
so.
That's okay too, right? Because it has many different faces. But I'm sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, keep going.
Well, I was saying, because that's the thing that kind of like when you ask me about, femininity
Yeah.
by definition, the thing is, like, I don't think that femininity is literally, like I said before, I don't think that it looks one way or that it looks a specific way.
Yeah.
Because even in like I'm someone that have done like a lot of research on like the goddesses, and there are goddesses of war, goddesses of destruction, goddesses of many different things. So it's like you can't really put femininity in like one box and say this is what it is and this is what it looks like. You can give people examples, but that's not how everybody will express themselves, like you said.
Right, because when you talk about like a goddess of war, you think super strong, to where some people may not consider femininity to be strong, whereas I feel like that's a top tier example of
I think so.
Is strength.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. Seriously.
So we're female, so we have always been feminine, but how has your like journey to becoming the woman that you are today been?
I would say that it's been challenging, but also very worth it. Very, just like, I would say like well-rounded, even though like other people, I guess it all boils down to like who you are on the inside.
Yeah.
Because I feel like on my journey, like a lot of people would have had a different like response or they would have made different choices. But for me, myself, and like even I see so many other just like amazing women, and they're going after their goals like you and myself. And that's the kind of stuff that like I commend, because I know that the journey getting there is not easy. It's not like something that everybody can do as well. So my journey to femininity has just been, like I said, through my creative expression. Like I love doing my makeup. I love expressing myself through like makeup or anything that like I can really pay attention to and like hone on in, because like I also do lashes. So like it's something that I like, if I can get my hands on it, if I can like get a vision of it, and then like get my hands on like whatever I'm trying to create, then I pretty much can do it. So that's another thing that it related to like it to my femininity and how it got me here on this journey. And yeah, I still have ways to go, and and yeah,
I agree with you when you say like earlier about it's not always like what you dress and the colors that you wear, because for me, I was always early developed, as you can say.
yes.
So I think it was like maybe 4th grade, 5th grade. I was like, oh, things is getting real different out here.
Yeah, like
and
everything. Yep. Yeah.
But at the same time, for me, I was always told, so on one hand, I had something that I couldn't control and something that I should have been able to like embrace. And then on the other side, it was like, you need to cover up. Like your shirts need to be up here.
Yes. Yup. And yes. Oh my God.
I kept going. I still go back and forth with my mom today. Like you need to cover up. You need to put a tank top on or something. But all my life, I just kept asking the same question: what do you want me to do about something that I can't control?
Right. Something that I was born with. Like,
and I feel like that, I can say that's one thing that kind of made me, kind of turned me into the type of girl who kind of did both, like the kind of like big t-shirts, boy short type of thing, but then like dresses and heels type of thing. I think that's exactly where I kind of got that vibe from, because I was always told I needed to cover up, but I didn't want to be looking frumpy. So I was just like, all right, I'll grab this boy's t-shirt, this boy's jacket, and these little shorts, and then I'll cover it up.
Yep.
But at the same time, I didn't want to be like covered up. I didn't understand like why I had to be. And I think like one of the main reasons I feel like Young Monarchs exist is for the fact like we are women, and we should be taught and teach to embrace everything about you exactly, and don't feel shamed out of fear for what somebody who shouldn't be bothering you may bother you. And I feel like that kind of messed with my image of femininity and like how I had to carry myself.
Right. And I totally agree with that. Because that's something that I always, like, especially when I was in high school, like, I always used to just, like, think, like, you know, I got these teachers telling me, you know, oh, I got, you know, well, not a lot of teachers, but, like, one day, it was hot. It was hot in school. And I had on this, like, it was, like, kind of like a see-through shirt, but it was long. And I had on shorts and whatever. But my shorts weren't like booty shorts. They were just like, you know, short shorts.
Regular shorts.
And yeah, but and a teacher was like, oh, cover up a little bit, or like da da da. And I was like, no. First of all, I see, you know, different skin girls wearing stuff like this all the time, and y'all don't be saying nothing. Y'all got nothing to say. But because me, I am curvy and I'm voluptuous, you want to come. Like, first of all, you shouldn't even be like. But you know, you gotta realize that the society that has been like put together now, they are so like they sexualize children. Sorry to say it, but they do, and it's like certain things like that just like kind of not okay. Because there's so many different like doorways and portals when you start to like sexualize children, or even like, you know, demonize a woman for expressing her, like, what she was born with, the things that, you know, babies get nutrients from when they're, you know, when they just come out, stuff like that. So I totally agree with that, and I totally understand that was definitely a thing that was a little touchy for me too. So yeah.
And I think just like on the same thing, I think we've always been taught women have been taught to pay more attention to how we carry themselves, whereas, you know, boys haven't been taught that much on how to act and you know, treat women. Like, I don't even think that, I know that that is definitely a conversation that people have with their sons on how to treat women, but I don't think it's like off the bat, like, don't talk about her if you see she has a bigger chest, or like, don't stare at her, or don't do this. It's kind of like the girls are told like cover up so the boys' hormones don't go out of control, like through middle school and high school, when it's at the same time for us, we don't really understand what's going on, but we're constantly shamed for what we're trying to learn about. So it kind of stops the learning and turns into like, okay, I just need to protect myself, I guess.
Yeah. And you have no idea how like unhealthy that is, like how unhealthy that is a way to think, because that takes you totally out of your femininity and right into that masculine energy, which is survival mode. You have to see how you're going to protect yourself. You have to, you know, kind of censor yourself and be extra self-aware, almost hyper self-aware. And men, they really don't have, you know, the same teachings. So yeah, I totally agree.
I know, like, my boyfriend calls me scary sometimes. I'd be like, I can't do that. Like, after dark, or I can't go here. And then he's like, why not? I was like, because I'm a girl. Like, I've just always been like, I guess it's just because my mom's have constantly been like, you can't wear this, you can't wear this. Don't, like, pay attention to that, pay attention to that. And as a child, I'm learning, like, I see the whole party when I walk in the room because I'm peeping real quick what's going on.
Yeah.
And the whole time that's just what I'm doing instead of, living in the moment and just not caring who's there and having fun. So I definitely feel like I probably didn't even realize it till now. Like that's probably the one main reason of why have always been so quiet and just so observant. And it could have just been like that hyper fear in the back of my head, like, sis, watch yourself, like all the time.
Yeah. And that really sucks. That really sucks. And that's why this is really important for us to talk about and for us to, bring to the forefront, I guess you can say, so that people can like really see like, yeah, that stuff like that is not okay, because then it leads into, the bigger stuff, because if you're walking around like that, thinking stuff like that, eventually you attract it to you.
Yeah.
What, not even knowing it, because you're feeling these emotions, you're thinking the thoughts or whatever. And then like thoughts, I don't want to get all metaphysical here, but thoughts have like a very powerful like influence on like what's going on around you and what could happen, because there's like so many different potentialities. So when I'm talking about, opening up doors and like portals, that's what I'm talking about, the potentiality. So yeah.
Right. And then there's so many things like you don't want to be afraid of it. So it's kind of like now I'm at the age where like I'm 27 years old and I'm realizing I probably never have expressed myself or been as feminine as I wanted to, because I've always been so cautious of what am I wearing, how I present myself. So like really when it comes to, I've always been feminine. I've always considered myself like a girly girl that likes to play in dirt sometimes. And it's like, what are some ways that you could recommend to girls who are kind of on that same path, or maybe like just trying to tap into their femininity? What are some ways that that they could like tap into it and kind of get to know themselves in that space more?
I would definitely say learn as much as you can about your female body. Learn about, just like, it doesn't have to, like, you can learn like other things that you're passionate about first, because like the way that it started with me is that I was like researching spirituality and like Native Americans and like all of their stuff. Then that turned into me researching stuff on the law of attraction or whatever. Then me researching into like more specific things like tarot or divination practices, divination tools, how to use them, stuff like that. And then I got into like, okay, this whole goddess, energy, femininity, just being more feminine, creating and like expressing myself. So I would say learn. Learn as much as you can, because it just makes you feel better anyway too. And also just be really like gentle with yourself. Be really gentle with yourself, because we all have that inner child too. And the inner child does have a lot to do with not only feminine energy, but of course like your feminine energy, because you come from a woman. Everybody's born through a woman, so it's like that also has a lot to do with all the femininity stuff. So yeah, definitely just self-care, self-love, self-awareness. That's the way for me. That's the way that and I'm a very like logical, analytical person. So if something sounds a little too like not solid or whatever, or airy to me, then like I kind of don't really pay it any mind. But yeah, just I would just say learn all that stuff. A lot of this, I know that it's like not coming out exactly how it comes out on my YouTube channels, videos. So I would definitely like, y'all find it.
Yeah.
Y'all will find better like me getting into it on my channel. But yeah, it's really basic things. It's really basic.
So when you talk about like when you got into like goddesses and kind of learning, kind of understanding, like finding those pieces in you, have you felt like all women have like a goddess in themselves, and like how do you tap into it? How do you get there?
I would say definitely all women definitely have this within them. They do. But then with everything that is going on in the world right now, it's like not just women, everybody has it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a divine masculine and feminine, which is in everyone and actually everything. And um I do think that all women have it, but it's just everybody just they don't like tapping into it.
Mm-hmm.
um it's just like such a complex thing, the
Yeah.
whole feminine energy. It's so complex. But I would definitely say start by, going inward, because that's a feminine thing to go inward. Like the moon, when it, like it has cycles where it's full, half, and all that, waning,
Mm-hmm.
waxing. And just like be okay with the cycles of like yourself and in your
Yeah.
life. Also, learn to listen to your intuition, because that would be your biggest thing. Because that would be your biggest superpower, especially when you're tapping into feminine energy, is the intuition. And then you learn to trust and honor your intuition, because it's not like, oh, you just have this intuition one day and you think that you can,
Yeah.
you're just going to listen to it and trust it every time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a discipline, it's definitely a practice. That is how I tapped more into my feminine energy. That's where like I get like a lot of information from, a lot of revelations, epiphanies, all kinds of stuff. And it has a lot to do with like the empath stuff, even though I don't really consider myself an empath anymore, because I think we're all empaths
Mm-hmm.
as humans. But yeah, you definitely get to tap into uh, more a more creative, but also a more spiritual energy when you tap into your feminine side.
Yeah. So a lot of what you were saying kind of goes back to just like self-awareness and like learning yourself, knowing who you are, and being able to like call out those voices. Like, is this my fear talking? Is this my intuition talking? Is, whatever it is. Um, how do you think self-awareness and our personal growth journey, like how does that affect, in your opinion, how does that affect us as women on like that spiritual level? Because for me, I feel like once you're self-aware, once you're focused on you as an individual, that's when you start to pay attention and see like, oh, this is my intuition kicking in. This
Mm-hmm.
is what I like, what I don't like. This is who I am and who I'm just not going to be. Stuff like
Right, right.
like how does self-awareness and personal growth really like affect us, affect us as women on this journey?
Um, It affects us a lot, because I would say that the feminine energy is more of like a flow. And
Mm-hmm.
like we were talking about before, a lot of us grow to be very hyper aware of ourselves because
Mm-hmm.
of like all of these suggestions coming to us. And I would say when you can, yes, be self-aware, but also have like that unconditional like self-love, and know that either way it's okay, because
Mm-hmm.
you're a human, as we all are. And I think building a connection also with your intuition, with your feminine side, is what will make you, trust yourself more to make the best decisions for yourself. you
Yeah.
know Tying back into self-awareness and being a woman, and it helps you get into that flow, because really the feminine energy is a flow. um, what else? Yeah, it definitely like it can put things in motion, a lot of things in motion. So
You
uh
mean emotion like things that we manifest and the things that we want?
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Things, because like even in the physical, before a baby manifests, the woman goes through the pregnancy, for 9 months, and that is the feminine energy actually, you know, um, just, I guess, like growing,
yeah,
and like incubating. And that's kind of how things happen with anything. Before there was a fan, somebody thought of the fan and then created the fan from the idea or the vision
yeah,
thing. So that is more of the feminine energy, your intuition, like your psychic abilities, stuff like that. Even if I don't know if other people are into like, your all of the abilities that we're actually born with, but all these filters get put on us. But yes,
yeah.
that is also feminine. uh, and yeah, all of this stuff also has a lot to do with the chakras. So I would like, this is just a side note, I would like research and learn about the chakras as well.
I know we had talked about it yesterday. I was like, I be trying to learn like where things are, but I definitely feel like everything you're saying is like absolutely on point, and just getting to know ourselves like wholly, like every single part, like not just paying attention to one, but like really focusing from head to toe, like, how do I feel, where am I going, what am I meant to do, all kinds of things like that. I feel like for women, when we only get those things when we start to focus on ourselves, it's not just gonna like fall into our laps.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and jump into like the Get Your Head in the Game segment, where generally we share pretty much like a story time where we had to get our head in the game, boss up, make a situation better for ourselves. I know you said you might have a story you wanted to start off and share, then I can kind of piggyback off of that one.
Yes, that's right. When it comes to being a woman, there's a lot of things that obviously tie into it. And one of the most important things is actually relationships. Like beauty, I would say like beauty and relationships, kind of, because I did a video like this, but these are like very important things that make up this femininity, like this feminine energy. Oh, sorry, I'm back. And I would say, as a person who is early on their journey, even if you're like, I don't know, like 12 watching this or 15 or whatever, you want to really be cognizant of also the people around you. The more that you can, because you don't want to just have the focus on yourself, because that's going to be hyper focused. You need to start focusing some of that energy outside of you. So what happened on my journey when I, started to tap in more into my feminine energy and just being more of a independent person, of course, I got into relationships and stuff like that. Okay, here's the story. So when I first started early on this journey, of course, I got into like relationships, whatever. And I was really a girl who liked, long lasting relationships. I mean, I think that's how like all women start off on this journey. Like they kind of just have that fairy tale love and everything in their head from the Disney movies and all that. So, yeah, that's basically like I started dating, I think when I was in 8th grade. I think I was like, wait, was that 8th grade? Yeah, I was probably like, I would say 14, 15-ish. And I just dated this boy. He would just walk me home every day after school. And, we got off the bus or whatever. And I lived up the street. He would just walk me home or whatever. So, that was cool because, I really wasn't doing much. I was always in the house. So then high school comes. And I think I'm like 16 at this point or whatever. And, I got me a little boyfriend or whatever. But that relationship, it was kind of like short-lived, and I was just like, oh, okay. But then right after that, like I had got, scooped up because, because I've always been like feminine. I've always been into like makeup and like, and I've always been like curvy and like voluptuous even throughout high school. So it's like, boys is like, oh my God. So that was that. So I had got out of that relationship. I had got out of that relationship when I first hit high school. And then, immediately I was inside this long relationship. Yes, this is what I wanted, right? I thought that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely trial and error. I was inside that relationship for like years, probably. I want to say like four, like,
So, like
on and
all
off
of
with a
high school.
person. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's where I learned the most about like what I want, what I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
what I like, what I don't like, my personal boundaries, my standards, all that kind of stuff. And I say that the relationship was on and off because it was like toxic.
Uh-huh.
If that's a word that we're gonna, yeah, it was very toxic. And of course, because like at this point we're kids, we have no idea what's going on. Our parents aren't really, like he didn't have like a married mom, like family or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have that either. So it was like we were kind of just like trial and error.
Yeah.
So basically, I just learned a lot throughout that whole relationship. And it was really to teach me a lot of lessons about like who I am as a person, my boundaries, my standards. And it really showed me, because like relationships are like a mirror, and it kind
Yeah.
of shows you like the beliefs that you hold about relationships, love, and like all that stuff. Oh, you can come in. Oh, and yeah. So that's what I think about, you know, relationships and all that stuff. Toxic relationships, I would definitely say you're gonna go through it. Oh yeah, sure. You're gonna go through it, but it's gonna be a learning experience. Yeah, and I would just say, yeah, you're just gonna have to go with the flow. You're gonna have to learn trial and error, with those kind of relationships. And yeah, I don't want to get too much into it. If you do
Yeah.
want to see a little bit of a story time, you can like go on my channel and see that story time that I did. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that whole story time, the toxic relationship stuff. But
Oh yeah.
if you want to add more.
I definitely feel like the people who we date on like our journey, just in like those key years of like us figuring out like what's going on, what we're gonna do. I feel like the people we date, to what you said, is like an absolute mirror. And then when you're in something that's not, that you just know for a fact this is not for you, you're like, this is not the mirror that I want. Like, this is not me. This is
Yeah.
not my life. And I've definitely been in that situation of just being like, this is not for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think I can be like a super hyper individual, but at the same time, I feel like just like out the womb, I've been very like calm and relaxed. So I think when things get like too heightened and too like in your face, like what's going on, like loud, I'm just kind of like quickly like drawn back to like, I don't think this is something that I want.
Yeah,
Because I
exactly.
can't meet you halfway on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's those, for me, it's been those times where I've been like, yeah, I can't meet you halfway here. It's when I'm kind of like, I'm going to get off the bus and go this way.
Right, right. And not to cut you off, but
Okay.
to just like tie back into the whole like the relationships being a mirror for that moment, because that's how you actually like form your boundaries, I would say, and your
Yeah.
standards. And then you actually kind of like start to like morph into something else, because you're recognizing those triggers within like
Other
that
people.
other
Yeah.
person, and you're just like, no, okay, no. So yeah, even if you don't even recognize it, like, because a lot of times we won't recognize it because it's just like something that's become so normal to us, because it's like
So we
a
were used to.
social conditioning
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's kind of what happens. You just start to morph into um something obviously better,
Mm-hmm.
when after those relationships where you see yourself in the mirror, or you're mirroring them back to whatever,
Yeah.
however it goes, because it happens in so many different ways. But yeah, pretty much that's what the whole toxic relationship stuff is about.
So I guess
Definitely
that
lessons.
takes us into our third topic of just like once we have taken the time to study ourselves, once we have kind of filling ourselves out, we know what our boundaries are, we know, the journey that we want to be on and like kind of what direction we're going. I feel like another amazing thing just to be able to do is kind of pick up on. I know in the episode last week I talked about like discernment, but like discernment, energies, vibes, just being able to quickly assess like, I don't know about this person, or like, can I get a quick read on them.
Right.
And you said, I know how you mentioned earlier that you feel like everybody in general, just like human beings, are empaths. Do you feel like everybody can pick up on these same, like, kind of pick up on who people are? And
Definitely not.
yeah.
Definitely not, because if we did, the world would be a much better place. But definitely not. I think that, of course, this can like relate, like tie back into intuition. But I can't say that I feel like everybody have this that ability. I don't feel like they do. Um, and yeah, I just I don't feel like they do. I don't feel like they tap into it. I don't feel like they embrace it if they do have it. And then it's just some people that are like so messed up to the point where they're like, it's off. It's off. Maybe in the next lifetime or something. Because no, I don't think so.
Like, I know for me, I don't know, like, we never know like why we are until we're like older, but even things of, ever since I was little, I've been able to quickly
Mhm.
be like, this is not a good person.
Mhm.
Like, I don't
And
know
that,
about this person.
yeah.
Or just being able to, like, I've been in situations where I've just like got up and left. And then come to
Yep.
find out, as soon as I left, just it's like something popped off, or something happened.
Yep.
And I never, like, I always say thank you, like, thank you God for giving me those abilities. But I'm always trying to understand, like, in building relationships with other people.
Mhm.
I'm like, why you don't know like your friend or like somebody you're acquainted to? Just not, there's not a good person. Like, why do you not feel that? And I never really interact with them.
Understood
I
it.
can feel that, like,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah. And no, I totally understand that, because I had thoughts like that a lot. Like, how can you not, how can you live with that more rather? Like,
Mhm.
and a lot of times those, like, the people who don't really have the ability to fill out energies and stuff like that, they kind of find somebody that they can actually feed off of, that actually can feel, energies, because opposites attract. And then it becomes a codependent relationship between those two people. you
Mhm.
know Sometimes they refer to this as, the empath and the narcissist or whatever, because the narcissist just, they don't seem to have like an internal dialogue. They don't seem to have, that intuition.
Yeah.
So um I would definitely say I've even been in relationships like that before, and I think that's why I know so much about, energy, and how to pick up on it, how to like read things. And like you said, ever since like I was a kid, I was able to do this. So it didn't even just start when I started dating. It started like way before then, like even, in my personal relationships in my life. So
I feel like we already covered like how has this part of our journey been, because for me, um, in general, it's been a little stressful. I'm not even gonna lie.
yes,
Just
very.
being able to, I guess, just feeling things so deeply, like no matter if
That's what it
it had
is.
anything to do with me or a friend, or if I'm just eavesdropping on a sad story. And I feel like it's like a little stressful to like feel, to kind of, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like I can be in front of somebody just having lunch, and like the physical conversation is good, laughing and chilling is good,
Mm-hmm.
but the inside of me is like, it's not so good, sis. Like there's
And
something.
you're talking about the, yeah, you're
Yeah,
talking about the subtle energies is what you're feeling.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've like you'll be thinking like everything's going well, but then at the same time you'll be like something doesn't seem right, or something
Exactly.
just it's not like all the way there. I feel like that's
With, yep.
for me has been so stressful of just understanding like, is this real? Is what is happening real, or is what I'm feeling?
Exactly. And I think this is the thing about that. So it all, I know it's going to sound really repetitive, but it all really makes sense because, to feel, I would say that the spiritual definitely forms the physical. And we're actually taught the opposite, but the spiritual forms the physical, literally. And that's why I rather go off of like that subtle energy and the vibe rather than what the person is actually saying or what they're actually, doing. Because everything has like any underwriting like emotional or vibrational currency, not currency, but you know what I mean, like a frequency.
Yeah.
So the physical, you can throw it out the trash. I mean, you can throw it out because all that really matters is the vibration and the energy.
So what do you see, like what are some of the benefits of you just being able to kind of like fill people out quickly and kind of just having those abilities?
Well, it helps me guide myself in like the best way possible because you can't control other people. So the best you can do is, either prevent something or, just position yourself in a way where, you're not getting harmed or other people are not getting harmed, or even position yourself in a way where you can actually help a lot of people or doing certain things that your intuition tells you or whatever. And, like I said, trusting it, honoring it and like acting on it. Because yeah, it actually does matter. It actually does matter. And usually those things are actually like inspiration. So inspiration can do a lot, like just like motivation.
Yeah. And I agree with you. What are like the challenges or the annoyances that, like, I'm sure you don't, like, I don't want to be able to do this, or like, I don't want to be able to pick up on people's energies or things like that. But I know I've just honestly been in situations where like it maybe I had wanted to be a friend to someone or wanted to like go somewhere, but just kind of felt so deeply like it just is not going to happen. And those were the things that are like challenging and annoying. Like, well, why can't I just see, can I just see on my own?
Right. And that's the thing. Yeah. And it's all about really about like the lessons, I guess. Like it's like, do you really want to revisit that lesson? Because like I said, all this stuff happens way before we get into actual dating relationships. So the annoyances and the challenges would definitely be, well, for me personally, it was this like, am I going to be an observer or am I going to be like a victim to the circumstance or the situation? Like, which one am I going to be? Because like you said, like you may feel like, oh, like I really like this person, I want to be in a relationship with them, or I really want to be in a friendship with them or whatever, but it's just this dissonance and this energy that's just like, obviously it's off.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, are you going to observe that, okay, you want something, but everything that we want is not always what like we need, and then it's not always the best for us. So like, you could want that, that's cool, but like, come on, like, you got priorities, you got responsibilities.
As soon as you said that, I thought of another story of just where I knew for like when you said like there was somebody that you maybe wanted to date in college. There was somebody that I wanted to date, but and like inside of me, I was like, so it's like no, like people have told you it's a no, your body's telling you it's a no, and you're still just gonna give it a shot. And there was just one day we were never in a relationship, just into dating, where I had like, I've never in my life before this point or after this point have ever had a demonic dream.
Ooh.
But I had the scariest dream I've never seen in a movie. I've never couldn't even wanted to think of something so horrible. I had the scariest dream after going on a date with this person, and they were like in the dream. Like if you can think of the scariest, most demonic movie, like it was like, it's so horrible because it scared me. But that was like the one time where I was like, hello, like this is
it woke you up.
My mind trying to tell me like, well, this is the last thing I'm gonna do to try to make you get away.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, just like, I'll describe one thing in the dream. It was like I looked out of my bedroom down the hallway and I saw like a person crawling, but they were crawling with their head turned upside down.
Oh my God, Tiara.
And I was like, oh, I woke up praying. I was like, oh Lord, no, I'm going to listen now. Like, I'm going to listen now. But that was like a perfect example of you wanting to do something and everything being like, don't do this.
Yes.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to listen like to myself like the first time rather than waiting until we get here.
That's hilarious. Well, first of all, that was a crazy dream. After that, I would not be able to sleep without some sort of crystal or some sort of something. I need me something to sleep with. But no, also dreams are something that's really interesting to me too, because I've had dreams not so much like that before in that sense, but definitely where you could tell like it wasn't a good spirit. And when you're actually lucid in those dreams, like I've learned to become lucid in my dreaming, and so I can actually control the dream. And I haven't had one of them dreams in a long time, ever since like I kind of like, it's kind of like a demon slayer, like that's how I was in a dream. And when I became lucid, of course. But yeah, that's something else that we could talk about, because that's really interesting to me. But yeah, definitely that intuition in your dreams, especially as a woman, will definitely tell you. I can't count on how many, like on a thing, on like how many fingers, how many times I had a dream about my low down ex was cheating on me, and he actually was cheating on me, like for real, like, and he will even tell you to this day, even though I already know about what he got to say, but he will tell you like, yeah, she had dreams about me cheating. Like, I don't know if I was like remote viewing or whatever, but just know that my dream came through and let me know. Period.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, and then even that's like a hard thing. It's like, is this dream a real dream? Is this dream like trying to tell me something? But I definitely know times where I've had dreams that just seem like way too close to home, or like
to reality.
Yeah, to like the demonic dream. Like I didn't know, like I wasn't thinking he was a demon, but after that I was like, you just might be. Like it might just not be a good thing.
Yeah.
And all I can say is after that dream, I honestly never spoken to him after that morning. I woke up, never said anything again. Like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta go. Like,
I know
this shouldn't have even gotten this far.
Yeah, I know that's tough, but
I was like, this is too much. We're getting into like the Get Your Life segment, which is kind of like pretty much how this whole episode is been. We say one thing that we are doing really well on our journey and one thing that we're still struggling with.
Okay.
I guess we can start with things that are one thing that's going well. I think for me, this is like the one time in my life, I've been super focused on making sure I'm genuinely expressing who I am. So I still, so every day I'm like constantly trying to like live life on full, be genuine, like speak my mind and all of those things. And one thing that I'm still struggling with is kind of like what we talked about earlier, how to like present, like how do I want to present myself? Because like going back to the whole, kind of being tomboyish some days and kind of being girly some days, with me being focused on myself right now, I'm trying to be the baddest peach in Georgia. So
Yep.
I'm not going to be worried about, I try to remind myself to not be worried about anybody's opinions on things that I just genuinely can't control. I can't control my tone of my skin. I can't control the curls in my hair. I can't control the way my body looks. But I don't want to feel ashamed of it anymore. And I feel like I'm just too old to not be able to kind of fully own what I'm rightfully given to do with.
Exactly, because these things that make us unique is most likely like who we are. So that is the most powerful way to manifest, the life that you want, is by using the things that make you who you are. Because we're all out here, we all have the same kind of goals. Everybody wants to have a lot of money, be successful, have this, have that, but everybody doesn't embrace who they are truly, so that other people can embrace them, because it's all going to start within, and it really is like a discipline. So for me personally, I feel like what I've been doing like really good at on this whole journey is learning and being very observant. Being very observant, but also being still expressive. I would say like my balance is something that I'm proud of, and like being able to be here and there sometimes, and understanding that everything is literally a practice. It's something that you have to like discipline yourself on. It's something that you have to keep working at. So I'm really happy at my persistence. And as far as like my challenge or like things that I'm still working on would be being even more focused, like laser focused on the things that I want, everything that I'm doing, and I think also another challenge is actually, not working with other people, but like letting people in, close to me, because, I've been, in this stage for like so long where I'm like learning and observing and having all of this open space and having the choice to, do certain things or be certain ways. Not to say that I have like any problem with being like feminine and like done up and stuff like that, but it's just, that's what I'm working on now. Like finding the right people to like let in, basically.
Same. I definitely feel like I'm in the same space of I'm just kind of taking my time more to feel people out. But also at the same time, just knowing that I don't want to be closed off, and that for people to see or to connect with me the way that I'd want them to connect with me, I do have to kind of open myself up to show people the whys, like just the natural whys of who I am. But I definitely feel like, especially from working on this platform and like getting my first opportunity to kind of like do a partnership with somebody, I felt like for me, I felt like it was God kind of being like, I'll give you a little something when you show who you are. So I kind of felt like that was his first, like, here you go, you're doing good, of me just kind of being open and saying, here I am, like, this is the real deal, here's the real sauce, and let's kind of go from here. But I definitely see like the benefits and the things just naturally come in when you are open and when you are like coming in and coming out just yourself.
Yep.
Being authentic in that.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree.
So let's see. Now we're getting into the motivational tea.
Let's see. A story where, okay, so this would be something that like when you overcame something. Okay, so let's just use this story. So when I was in high school, I had what happened? Oh yeah, I had like a house fire, and it was my senior year in high school, and I had so much going on. Oh, was I a junior? I was either a junior or a senior going into my senior year. I had so much going on, and luckily we were actually able to be put into like a hotel, um, a hotel and like a couple hotels and a house before we actually moved back into the house until it got finished, being renovated or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had so many things going on. I had to like prepare to get like my cosmetology license, also focus on being at school as well, and being on time to classes and stuff like that. Basically what I did was a program called Botech, but then I was also like applying for like colleges and stuff like that, all while like my like my home life not being what it was, because I grew up in the childhood home. But I also learned a lot from this part of my life too. So what else? Oh yeah. And what else was I doing? It was something else I was doing. Either way, yeah. So I actually ended up graduating, getting my license as well, my cosmetology license, and finishing off with like really good grades for like all of everything that I was doing, even though I was so stressed. I was so out of my element, and I was so like so much going on. Not to mention, like relationship stuff, like with these toxic little boys in high school. If you're in high school, just don't even know mine. Don't. And, so yeah, that's something that I wanted to give, that like, even though that's where your strength starts to come in, like your personal strength starts to kick in, to see like how you gonna push through, through all of these things that could be like happening in your life all at once, and you still have to push through. So that's one example that I can give for that motivational tea. And then now until like where we are now. I mean, I guess I'll keep on going. I might as well just keep on going. Where we are now, like I'm out of college, that didn't work out. But now I have my own business, and I'm doing my YouTube stuff, and I'm working at a lash studio. So like I'm still doing everything that I love to do, and I'm probably more of myself and more happier than I ever was before. Even though all of like these unfortunate or misfortunate things happened, it definitely built me up to become someone that can definitely push through a lot of things.
Definitely. That's an awesome story. I love that, because like that just shows you like no matter what's going on, like you still achieved, like you kind of like you did like surpass maybe the expectation at that time.
Definitely. I definitely did.
And like here you are today, like I know we're going to jump into kind of like your business and how people can follow you, but you've created a business, you're creating a brand for yourself. So it's always like, keep going. My motivational tea story, I guess it could be kind of where I am right now. Anybody that knows me starting this and doing this is like new to them, because I'm not a sharer. I've never been like an open type, but here it is all on my sleeves type of person. But I definitely feel like that has sold myself short and didn't necessarily give me everything that I wanted from relationships or friendships, opportunities in general, was never fully, it was never everything it could have been because I was the person holding back. So I'm learning now that I'm not holding back, and now that I am kind of just putting myself out there more, I'm seeing every day that it's working, and kind of also seeing like all the fears that I had when I was in like maybe middle school or high school, and even going through college was just not necessary in general, because I'm seeing now that I kind of forcefully put those to the side, no matter how I feel internally, it's turning out well. So
Right.
now it's just kind of like continuing that and just making it kind of like firsthand nature to be myself all the time, instead of feeling out the room to decide if the room deserves me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, so that's where I feel like I am, and I'm enjoying it here. It's definitely still like every day it's like, do you want to put yourself out there? Do you want to share this story or that story, or
Right.
do you want to just like reach out to
Let it
people
all
that you
out.
don't know? Yeah, like what do you want to do for real? But each time, every decision I make is like a quick hesitation, and then it goes away. Like it's a
Right.
hesitation, like maybe you shouldn't do this, and it's like we're just gonna do it and just see what happens now.
Exactly.
Where I am, but I want to get to a point where I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing and acting how I would around anybody.
Right. So that's the journey you're on now, basically. It's
Yeah.
becoming just like more self-accepting and like just pushing away those fears and doubts and stuff like that. Basically, you're stepping more into like your you're stepping more into like your observer. Uh, you're like, because they say that one of your chakras actually it's associated with the observer. Basically our soul or our essence, like the spirit or the soul that is, you know, here without the physical vessel. So basically it's like you're tapping in more into that rather than being so like, you know, here on the physical we're kind of closed-minded and stuff like that, and small-minded when it comes to like stuff like that. So it just basically, it means you're broadening your mind and you're opening up your mind and all of your potentialities as well too. So I love that.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I love this whole episode, like we said earlier. And for everybody that's listening, they can stay tuned to Thursday's video that we're also going to be working on and putting together. So if you want to see more G Armani, come check us out on Thursday. But I wanted to give you time to kind of let people know how they can stay connected with you, what you got going on, and just like talk about you now.
Okay. Well, I guess like the thing that I'm gonna close with this whole episode is basically to just like follow your heart, but also like know yourself, you know, and really don't be afraid to like feel more into your heart. Don't be afraid to let go, to release as well, and just really trust in, you know, yourself and your connection with, you know, the goddess energy, God energy, goddess energy, source energy, whatever. Just trust that, you know, that higher power. And yeah, that's what I'm gonna leave off with in regards to like the whole femininity thing. And then you can definitely find me and videos like this on my channel Ethereal 1111. Over there basically we talk about like spirituality, but also femininity, well, more specifically like goddess energy. So it's more like spiritual than anything, but I do give like practical and physical things that you can do every day. So yeah, you can find that over there. And yeah, I have like a Etsy store, which is based on my business now that's called Beauty and Wellness. So it's about like, it's basically focusing on, of course, your beauty without, but also within, and
Mm-hmm.
also, you know, the wellness that you have within as well as without. So it's just like a kind of like a multifaceted thing and a
Yeah.
multidimensional kind of thing, but it all connects. And that's what I I'm striving to make apparent on my YouTube channel, but also throughout like my business and stuff like that. So yeah, you can find me on Etsy, YouTube, Instagram, and yeah, Patreon too as
Mm.
well. So all of those links will be at my channel, or you'll be able to find it on my social media anywhere.
Oh yeah, and if
And yeah,
they're watching on YouTube, I'm gonna link all of that below on YouTube, and then on Instagram, I'm gonna tag all of her handles. So check out the Instagram story and the post for this week, and then all those will take you to her page as well.
thank you.
Yeah.
If any of my honeys are here, hi, thank you for watching for this far, and definitely make sure to go check out Tiara's stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
So thank y'all for tuning in. I hope y'all have a great week. I definitely learned things that I didn't know on this episode. I'm sure you all did. If you guys have any more questions, comments, if you have your own boss up stories or story times you want to share, be sure to leave us a message on Anchor at the links in our bio, links on YouTube. We'll share them on next week's episode. And if you guys have any questions for Giarmani from this episode, make sure you send us those questions today, and we can probably answer them on our YouTube video we do together this week.
Yes.
So that would be cool. But thank you all for listening. Thank you for being on this episode, and we'll see you guys next week.